Hey everybody, Lady Cheryl here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I hope you will enjoy the video or perhaps learn something and that you will subscribe to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything that I've done since my last video. I'm so thankful that I'm feeling so much better and that I'm able to get out in the garden almost every day, and I share with you step by step what I'm doing. All right, let's get started. My first assignment today is to trim up my tomatoes. I've been sharing with you almost every other day how much rain we have been getting in North Texas. We've even had flash flood warnings. I've been blessed that my garden wasn't damaged that much, but all of the excessive rain did cause a lot of yellowing with my tomatoes. Thank God it wasn't blight. So today I'm going to share with you how I'm continuing to prune them. And most people try to hold on to their tomatoes, shade them, what have you, until the temperatures get more favorable again, under 85 degrees, but I don't. My experience has taught me I can just start new ones and they won't be as stressed as the ones that I try to hang on to. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm out early in the morning. As you can see, all of those branches and leaves there. I pruned excessively my last few tomato plants. I'm only keeping what I think I may be able to get some tomatoes out of. Do you see those flowers right there? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to grow those as well as these right here. And there's some more up there that are turning into tomatoes. And right here, you can see little tomatoes. So I'm keeping them, but I'm taking everything else out that I know won't produce. If you're new to my channel, flowers won't usually bloom once it gets past 85 degrees. But I've had shade cloth over my tomatoes, so some of them bloomed. So since I'm going to be putting my fans on and I already have the shade cloth, I'm going to see if these will produce. I'm going to hold on to my dwarf Tiny Tim cherry tomatoes in these two green stalks and this one over here. You can see they are still flowering in the heat, so there's no need to pull them out. They're looking really healthy. I'm going to hold on to them. I'm also going to hold on to another small tomato variety, and that is the 100 sweet cherry tomatoes. As you can see right there, I'm still getting blooms. So cherry tomatoes, you can continue to grow them in the heat. And there's another one that I've learned that I can grow pretty decently, and that one is the Roma. As you can see over here, the Romas are getting bigger. They're beginning to slightly blush. There are a few blooms on them, but not that many. So this one will probably be taken out before the cherry tomatoes. Guys, I am always starting seeds, either outside or inside in soil or hydroponically. And that's how I keep my garden plentiful. For example, you see these coleus right here? I've recently started more seeds because I discovered, because I used to always grow them inside, I've discovered that the butterflies love them and I don't have to worry about anything being pollinated. So let me show you the seeds that I'm getting ready to start today. The next thing on my list to do is to succession plant some more pink-eyed cowpeas in my baskets. I soaked them for about 8 hours, and I'm just going to put a few of them in here, maybe 4 to each basket. And I soak them so they can germinate faster. So I put 4 in here. And I'll put maybe 5 in here because this one had less transplanted the other day. And I'm not worried about where I planted the marigolds. They are very resilient and they will come up. I stopped counting. I think I did 4 or 5. I'll put another one right here just in case. And look, there's a little room right here in the center, because this one, as I told you when I first planted it, is a little weak. And that one right there is a little weak. Okay, assignment number 2 is done. Sometimes my daughter get a little concerned about me working in the garden. Even though I only work 30 minutes a day, she'll still come to that door and say, Mom, are you overdoing it? And I know it's because she loves me. But I want to share with you that I have to make adjustments. She has it in her mind you can just set it and forget it. That's not how gardening works. I'm transitioning and pulling up plants that I started inside of the home in January, brought them outside in March. It is too hot for some of these crops to grow. For example, lettuce. So I pulled up the lettuce and I planted the coleus seeds, as I mentioned earlier. And also, you just have to make adjustments every season. And I noticed that one of my sunflowers was being bent under the shade cloth, and I'm going to show you how I took care of that. See these sunflowers? Well, one went rogue and grew real tall, taller than where I had the shade cloth. So I just released the shade cloth so that it can bloom. But I'm still shading. Let me step back so I can show you. I'm still shading this area in here. Okay, so that's assignment number 3. Let's move on and plant some more cowpeas. I am going to use every available space. I used to could space things out real nicely in the food forest. I can't do that anymore. But you see these canna lilies? I'm gonna plant some cowpeas right around here where that soil is bare. Use every space that you can. I'll just plant a couple of them and just show you how you're gonna do it. There are a few things I need to share with you about growing canna lilies with peas. It's not normally recommended, but these are heat-tolerant peas, and they will fix nitrogen in the soil. Canna lilies are tropical, so they need a little bit more water, but in my 100-degree weather, you can see these are wilting. They're gonna come back out when I put the fans on them. You see that? And the peas, like I said, are nitrogen fixers, and that nitrogen will feed the canna lilies. And by it being so hot down here in Garden Zone AA, Mesquite, Texas, it'll be okay for me to put more water on the pea. I tried a new sweet pepper this season, one I haven't grown before, and I was so surprised. They're so small that I didn't even see it. I guess when I was looking at the plant, it's very close to my Texas star hibiscus, which the flowers are red like you see right there. Isn't it beautiful? I didn't notice it until the other day, and I'm gonna show you how I harvested and tested it. And it tastes pretty good. In fact, Bria and I fried it up with some okra, just sauteed with a little olive oil, and it was delicious. And she's 11, and if you can get an 11-year-old to like a pepper and okra without it having cornmeal or anything on it, that's a good thing. But I really think that it's because she sees me growing them, and occasionally she helps me in the garden, that she's more prone to try different vegetables. Early in the morning, guys, and I'm checking on my garden, and I want to show you these little peppers. I can't think of the name of it. It starts with the M. I'll pop a picture in, but I noticed one was hiding back there, and you can see it's red. And the reason why I'm growing these is because I wanted to try something different, and because it's one of the fruits that I can, or food. A lot of people don't believe peppers are fruit, but they are, because they have a lot of seeds. Anyway, I'm going to taste this and let you all know how it tastes. It's not hot, it's a sweet pepper, and as I was saying, it's one of the foods that you can eat a lot of when you're on dialysis. A lot of things we can't eat because it has too much potassium in it. Okay, I tasted this little sweet pepper. It's good, but what I want to show you, look at all those seeds. This is when you are proud that you can grow from seeds. When you grow heirloom varieties, you'll never have to keep buying the seeds over and over unless you forget to save some. So I'm definitely going to save these seeds. Look at all those seeds, guys. Yep, I'm happy. Here is something else I want to show you. I noticed some aphids crawling around my watermelons yesterday, and I blasted them off with water. And the reason why I knew to look under the leaves is because I saw ants crawling on them. Now you see this little residue that you see here? Let me show you what it is. It is just cayenne pepper and water. Aphids don't like it, and all I'm trying to do is get these 5 watermelons to mature. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I applied this all around. He's 13 and he's in football camp, and he hasn't been able to help me that much. So on the rare occasions when I can get him out here helping me, trust me, I let him do the heavy lifting or the walking back and forth. That saves the stress on my body. For example, I just got in from dialysis, and it's hot out here, but I'm just out here for a little bit, and I know that I need to rest. So Brian is my reinforcer, and he's gonna help me show you how we're setting up our fans, because it is going to be almost 100 degrees in a couple of days. Here are some of my non-electrical camp fans. I have a couple of them that are solar powered, and then I have these that have a battery in them that you charge up. Right there in the middle is my Jackery generator that I purchased on sale about 3 years ago from Amazon in case we have a power outage. But where I live, we are on a hospital grid and we haven't ever lost power, but you just never know. Here I'm demonstrating that there are a lot of different speeds to the fans. Right now, while the temperatures are in the low 90s, I will use it on the lowest speed, and I will gradually increase the speed as the temperature reach 100 degrees, which you're expecting. It's time to put the fans out now because I don't like to wait until 100 degrees is here and then I have to run and do the work. I kept these fans in my garden bench wrapped in blankets outside all year round, but I was just looking over the directions again, and it was suggested that you should charge them up every 3 months. So going forward, I'll make sure that I do that next year. Guys, Brian is helping me put the fans up. What did you do over there, Brian?
I turned it on and I made it oscillate all around
this area in here. Okay, and with the shade cloth up there and the breeze, it's going to make it much cooler. I can prove it to you with the thermometer upstairs, okay? All right, now.
Solar powered, so we're gonna put it on the green tomatoes.
Right, and the solar panel back there is what's charging it, okay? And that white stuff that you see is diatomaceous earth. I saw a couple ants over there, and I just want to protect them. Right, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brian. Where are you going to put this one?
Right here.
Mm-hmm. It's on top of some dead basil, just to keep some critters out, some little insects. And you got it on low, and it's not oscillating. It's going straight on the tomatoes. Very good. Thank you, Brian. Oh, you're tired?
Yeah.
Football practice wore you down?
Yeah.
Athletes got to keep moving, Brian.
I put this pole on it, and then I charged it, and I turn it on and put it right here.
And why'd you put it right over here?
So to get on more tomatoes.
We got more. Very good. I know it's common sense, Brian, but new gardeners may not know where you strategically place this right here. You see those tomatoes right there, guys? Yeah. Those blooms, we trying to get those to make some tomatoes before we pull them up. But if we don't get any tomatoes out of here, Brian, in the next week or so, then we're going to pull them up. Okay, Brian, what did you do with this one?
So I pulled all the tomato plants out, and I got a couple of bricks, and I put the fan right here.
And it's on low?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic. We have a couple more. We have a solar power fan. You want to go get it? Kind of hot out here. You want to turn it on? And just put it somewhere near the tomato. You can put it right here if you want. Straddle the See right here? Straddle this. And then just turn it on. Okay, thank you, Brian. Am I really welcome, Brian? Well, this is the conclusion of this video. I really hope that you were inspired, motivated, or perhaps learned something. I always tell everybody that I've been gardening for a very long time, over 40 years, and very soon I'll be 72 years old, so I think I have something to offer. And as always, when I close, I need to remind you that I love you, and God loves you too. Bye now.